In this movie, we'll use something called a motion guide to animate this paper airplane along a path. If you're following along, I'm in 06_motion_guide.fla in the Chapter 7 folder in the Exercise Files folder. The first thing we're going to do is create our motion guide. Creating a motion guide is actually very simple. At the very bottom left of the timeline, immediately to the right of the Insert Layer button, you'll see the Add Motion Guide button. Click that button, and Flash creates a new layer for you called Guide:"Plane. Notice that the plane layer is also indented. That means that it's guided by the layer above it. Now let's lock the plane layer, and on the guide layer, let's use the pen tool. So select the pen tool, and you can pick any color stroke you'd like, and we'll begin drawing a guide. I want the plane to go in sort of a loop, so I'm going to draw a loop. You can draw whatever shape you'd like for your guide, but I'm going to click and drag and draw some anchor points to create a loop. Now your shape doesn't have to be complicated or anything. As you can see, I just drew a simple line on the stage. If I use the selection tool and deselect the artwork, you can see what the line looks like. Now we'll make the plane animate along this guide. So let's lock the guide layer, unlock the plane layer. You can see that on the plane layer, there's a paper airplane that's an instance of GFC plane, as you can see in the property inspector. And the symbol is just a simple graphic. So now let's create this animation. The first thing we're going to do is start out the animation linked to the guide. Now how do you do this? Make sure the selection tool is selected. Then at the very bottom of the toolbar, notice the Snap to Objects button looks like a magnet. That button should be selected. You know that it's selected because it has a different color than the background of the toolbar. With the selection tool selected and the Snap Objects tool selected, you're ready to connect a symbol to your guide. The next step is actually very important as well. Notice in the center of the plane instance, there's a circle. You want to move the plane by clicking and dragging on that circle. And then when you roll over the left edge of your guide layer, you'll see that the plane snaps to its guide. Release your mouse button when the plane snaps to the edge of the guide. And now we'll just create a simple motion tween. First, we'll extend the timeline for the guide layer. Select frame 24 of the guide layer and press F5 on your keyboard to extend the timeline to that point. Then select frame 24 of the plane layer and press F6 on your keyboard to create a keyframe at that point. Now, we'll connect the plane to the end of the guide. Remember, you want to move the plane by clicking and dragging on the circle in the center of the plane. Snap it to the right edge of the guide, and then release your mouse button. Now all we have to do is create a motion tween for the plane. Click in between the two keyframes of the plane layer, and then in the Property Inspector, the Tween Type dropdown, choose Motion, and Flash will create the motion tween for you. Test the movie by pressing Command-Return on the Mac or Control-Enter on the PC to preview the plane animating along the path. And there it is. Let's close this window. And one more thing, if we scrub the playhead from the beginning to the end, if you would like the plane to be facing up toward the end, I just scrolled up so I can see a better view of the plane. If you'd like the plane to be pointing up at the end of the animation, you can select the plane on the last keyframe, and then use the Free Transform tool and rotate the plane to however you'd like the plane to be rotated, and Flash will do the rest of the work for you. Test the movie again by pressing Command-Return on the Mac or Control-Enter on the PC. And the plane curves up at the end. You can also have the animation rotate along the path by clicking one button. Let's click anywhere between the first keyframe and the last keyframe of the plane layer, and then in the Property Inspector, at the very bottom in the center, find the Orient to Path checkbox and check it. Notice on the stage that the plane rotates based on the path. So now the plane will rotate along the path. Test the movie to preview the animation. Command-Return on the Mac, Control-Enter on the PC. And now the plane follows the path and rotates along the path. And there's a look at creating a motion guide.